Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Prabhupada Lilamrita by Srila Das Goswami. Prabhupada is in New York and Rath Yatra is going to take place. One morning, Prabhupada went to where the carts were being built, and Jayananda and his men showed him the improved construction of the giant wheels. Jayananda, who was terminally ill with leukemia, was absorbing himself in the service that had made him dear to Prabhupada and to all the devotees, organizing Rath Yatra and overseeing the construction of the carts. So he was terminally ill, means no cure. He was going to die soon with leukemia, but he still was doing so much of service. Prabhupada would ride to Central Park to take his morning walks. Passing through familiar neighborhoods, he recalled the old days of 1965 and 1966. One morning, Kirtanand Swami rode with him in the car. My best memories are those early days, said Kirtananda, especially the morning classes, Srila Prabhupada, when you would be sitting behind the desk. The sun would just be coming in and you would talk for an hour. Yes, said Srila Prabhupada. Only Hagriv and you and Prabhupada and Kirtananda recalled some of the other early devotees, Umapati, Carl Jurgens, Jim Green, Rai Ram, Satsvarup, Brahmananda. At that time, said Prabhupada, Kirtanan Maharaj was taking one chapati. Nothing else, asked Tamal Krishna. I would offer, said Prabhupada, but he would take one or two, that's all. Later on, one dozen. And that boy, Sriyadhish, he would take at least 20 chapatis. Whoa, they were big built, heavy built Americans. He would eat 20 chapatis. I would say, Sriyadhish, can I offer you? He would say, yes, I gave four, again finished, again four. How much Prabhupada was cooking himself for all these devotees. Originally, said Kirtananda, we all ate from Prabhupada's plate. There was one plate of prasadam, and Prabhupada would just give a little for everybody, and everybody would be satisfied. I used to keep some prasadam, said Prabhupada. Anyone would come, I would give. After class, recalled Kirtananda, he always distributed some prasadam after kirtan and class. Yes, said Prabhupada. I was clapping my hands in the meeting. I used to collect not less than $6, not more than $20, 3 times a week. Although Srila Prabhupada's triumph was that the early days of struggle were over, when he recalled them, he was immersed in a very special, sweet remembrance. He changed from one mood to another and sometimes mixed them. The days of his helpless, utter dependence on Krishna, when no one else was present, and his present satisfaction, surrounded by hundreds of faithful disciples. While remembering the old days, he was now realizing his original goals for ISKCON New York, the beacon light for our worldwide propaganda. So this was always his mood, how to expand preaching, how to let more people be saved. Not that he was attached to big mansion in Detroit or small temple in somewhere else. He was not at all attached. In the late afternoon, as the sun was setting, Srila Prabhupada liked to sit on the roof of his skyscraper, and his disciples would sit with him. Although the building was in Midtown, being situated on the west side afforded it a feeling of distance from the intensity of mid-Manhattan. Prabhupada would look out at the Manhattan skyline, and a breeze from the Hudson River would ease the July heat. One evening, some of the devotees described to Srila Prabhupada some of the abominable activities going on in the city. They told him of prostitution and pornography, of acts of rampant criminal violence, and of the strange fetishes and fads of the flesh eaters, including the eating of human fetus. Including the eating of human fetuses. That was going on in New York. Can you imagine that? Actually, uh, when I had just started to come, I didn't know any philosophy, didn't know, wasn't doing any chanting or anything. So once one family invited me to their house, Indian family in Dallas, to the house for dinner, prashadam. They were not following, but at least they were vegetarians. And they had invited ISKCON temple president, Nityanand Prabhu also for dinner. Okay, so I went and we were having dinner, prashadam and some friendly talk. And he mentioned the same point. He mentioned in the East Asia, like China and Taiwan, those countries, the delicacy is eating of human fetus. The baby that either died or was aborted. And because the meat is very soft, very tender. And and somehow I always like to play with little kids. And that really shocked me. I said, how can somebody eat that? It is gross. And I still remember, and whenever I meet Nityananda Prabhu in Dallas, he is still there. I tell him, "You are the one who changed my life." He just looked at me in my eyes because I was a meat eater that time. He said, "You eat chicken? Isn't that somebody's baby?" That really hit me. I mean, why only human babies? Babies are babies. So after dinner, when I came home, I threw away everything, all the non-veg, everything from my fridge, clean. No more non-veg from now on. So, and earlier somebody had preached to me, and that lady in the temple, she said, "Oh, you eat meat?" I said, "Yeah." "You eat chicken? Next birth you will become chicken." That that really didn't do anything to me. Maybe, I mean, everybody is different, so that didn't really hit me. But when this Prabhuji said, "You like to eat chicken, and chicken is also somebody's baby," that really hit me. And that was the last day. So, but this was going on in New York, and in Eastern countries, yes, it is very much in fashion. This means, said Prabhupada, that we are actually preaching to animals. And it is animalistic. One night on the roof, Rameshwar Swami asked Srila Prabhupada to reveal his plan for conquering the world with Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada was silent. Finally, he said, "No, because if I tell you my plans, then they may be spoiled." He had a plan, he said, but they were not ready for it. Wow. Conquering the world with Krishna consciousness. Of course, we can say he wanted to preach and this and that. Yes, but exactly how he wanted to achieve it, nobody knows. And as Prabhupada did say before leaving, that if needed, I'll come back. And who knows, in future, near future or distant future, he'll come back and guide the society again. The Rath Yatra procession with its 50 feet tall carts, 50 feet tall, began at Grand Army Plaza on the Fifth Avenue and proceeded downtown. Young men, girls in saris, Indians, New Yorkers, hundreds tugged at the ropes, pulling the gigantic chariots. With silken towers bellowing yellow, green, red, and blue in the wind, slowly and majestically the carts sailed south. The parade was complete with beautiful weather, hundreds of chanting and dancing devotees and thousands of onlookers. And the route was some 50 blocks down Fifth Avenue, the most important street in the world, to Washington Square Park. And the same route is still in New York, Rath Yatra, same route they take every year. But now it has become much bigger in size. And they just rent the whole Washington Square Park. Prashadam distribution is there, other displays are there, tents are there, kirtan is going on in one tent, and the deities, Jagannathji comes from the cart, sits in another tent, gives darshan, and then there are so many preaching stalls. They are there. Book distribution goes on, paraphernalia selling, and prashadam distribution, huge quantities of prashadam is distributed there. It's just a big festival. And it's even the day is fixed. It's the second Saturday of June. If somebody wants to go there, that's the day. Every year, second Saturday of June. At 34th Street, Prabhupada joined the procession. As he came forward to board the chariot of Subhadra, the devotees converged around him, amazing the policemen and other onlookers with the spontaneous adoration of Krishna's representative. Although the inner meaning of Rath Yatra is a gopis' desire for Krishna to return to Vrindavan, these devotees were more absorbed in Srila Prabhupada's return to New York. And of course, wherever Jagannath is there, Rath Yatra is being held. It's not different from Puri and Vrindavan. Jagannath Krishna going from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. It was a gorgeous, appropriate climax to Prabhupada's 10 years of preaching in New York City. When he had first come, he had no money, no place of his own to live, and no place for people to congregate and hear about Krishna. Now he was riding in a splendor down Fifth Avenue at the Rath Yatra festival, and his Radha Govinda deities had a skyscraper. In 1965, he had been alone on the street, but now he was accompanied by 600 disciples, loudly singing the holy names and benefiting millions of conditioned souls. Just in 10 years, can we even imagine the success? As Prabhupada always said, well, Krishna wants to give, who can stop him? But this is real definition of success. Once Prabhupada did say that I went to America with 40 rupees in my pocket. Only 40 rupees. That's what Indian government would allow at that time. And 10 years, 12 years, 1966 when he started ISKCON till 1977. 108 temples all over the world, farm communities, Govinda restaurants, businesses, incense business, books, so many books. Disciples, 10,000 disciples and followers, so many followers. And he traveled all over the world, 14 times. And he went with what, 40 rupees in his pocket. And he was telling a journalist that now I think the interview was in 76 or maybe 77. Now I have a house in every country. House means a temple. And I have cars in every house. I have so many servants in every house. They're serving me. I don't even have to pay them anything. They bring me money. He says, who could be richer than I am? And it is so very, very true. And then, huge temples in Vrindavan, Bombay, Mayapur. See, if Krishna wants to give, it depends on our surrender and our intention, but what's lacking in Krishna if he wants to give? Nothing. He can give us the whole world. But thing is, what are we going to do with it? That's a question. In front of Subhadra's cart walked Jayananda, holding the steering trunk, keeping the cart on course. As Prabhupada sat comfortably on the cart, he fondly glanced at Jayananda from time to time. Jayananda, steering with his left hand, would hold his right hand upraised, cheering Prabhupada's Rath Yatra and rallying the others to pull the ropes and chant Hare Krishna. Always serving, always serving. When the procession arrived, Washington Square Park was crowded with people. A temporary stage had been erected, and Srila Prabhupada and the deities took their places. Kirtanand Swami introduced Prabhupada before the crowd, and Prabhupada stood up to speak. Beginning by explaining the significance of Rath Yatra, Srila Prabhupada told the story of how the Jagannath deities were carved at the request of the king of Odisha over 2000 years ago. When the king had disturbed the sculptor before the deities were completed, the sculptor had left, but the king decided, I shall worship this unfinished deity, never mind. So, yes, from mundane eyes it's unfinished deity, but the Lord wanted to appear in that form. It looks like no hands, no legs, big eyes, big belly. What kind of deity is this? In fact, hippies at that time, hippies are hippies. They're just different. So they came, they saw Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. They asked, who are these? The devotees said, well, they are brothers and sisters, two brothers and one sister in the middle. They said, yeah, it must be so. They look alike. And they left. And somebody came and yeah, who is this? And devotee said, he's God. Oh, okay, he's God. He just paid respects and left. Didn't argue, didn't do anything. They just believed, yeah, he's God, he's God. Okay, that's fine. So the devotee is offering, Prabhupada continued, and Krishna accepts if it is offered with love and affection. He says in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, Yo me bhakti aparayachati. Krishna says, anyone who offers him a little flower, a little water, a little fruit and love, with love and affection, I eat them, I accept them. And he does. But Jagannath ji, of course, he likes to eat a lot. So Chappan Bhog every day in Jagannath temple, in Puri. He likes to eat. That means that even the poorest man in the world can worship God. There is no hindrance. Ahatukiya pratihata. Devotional service cannot be checked by any material condition. There is no restriction of caste or creed or country, nation. Anyone can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to his means. And actually in Jagannath Puri, there was one devotee, but he was from lower class. So Dasya Bauri, his name was, and there's one village also where he lived, and the directions one can go to the house of Dasya Bauri. So he would come. He could not go inside the temple. So he would just, from outside, he would offer coconut to Jagannath. And once some Panda asked him, what is this? Why are you offering from outside and this and that? He said, I cannot go inside. So you think Jagannath is accepting your offering like this? We have to do so much of rituals and tantras and mudras. And then Jagannath accepts. He said, I don't know. I think he accepts. So when Panda went inside, he saw the pieces of coconut on the mouth of Lord Jagannath and on the altar also. So he understood this devotee is different. So Jagannath ji can do anything. What's so difficult for him? It's just we have to offer it with love and devotion. Once at night, one girl was singing Geet Govinda prayers behind in the garden of Lord Jagannath. And pujaris, when they came to do the offering, they saw Jagannath ji was missing. They said, "Where did Jagannath go now?" So they went for looking around. King was also worried, where did Jagannath ji go? And then they saw Jagannath ji was in the garden listening to this girl's Geet Govinda. They said, "What is this going on?" They brought him back. "What is this?" "Oh, she was singing so beautifully." So from that day on, every night they put this chadar on Jagannath, Baldev Subhadra also, with Geet Govinda printed on it. Because that's what makes him sleep better. Also, nowhere I have seen, maybe some other temples do it, but I don't know. Here, every night that we have seen when we were there, Nidra Devi, the deity of Nidra Devi is brought before Jagannath ji and all whatever mantras and pujas they have to do. So Nidra Devi comes to help Lord Jagannath sleep, take proper rest. We don't do that in ISKCON temples. I don't know if any other temple does that. But this is how Jagannath ji sleeps. He's just totally different. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
प्रभु जी फिर से पहुंचा दिया आपने मुझे पूरी सच में वो समा भूला नहीं भूलते हैं सच में
I know.
वो समा बहुत अच्छा था क्लास तो वो तो कहते ना कि कुछ पता नहीं अच्छे कर्म किए होंगे
पूरी जगह ही अलग है जगन्नाथ
आई नो सच में नेक्स्ट टाइम फिर
Okay,
बनाएंगे प्रोग्राम फिर भी को
sure, man.
ठीक है थैंक यू प्रभु जी हरे कृष्णा
Shila Prabhupada.
जय श्री